All right, everybody, get pumped. We are on to week 5, and we have a great game here where the Las Vegas Raiders will travel to the Indianapolis Colts. I've got some good music here on in the background. This is Never Surrender by David Robidoux, some NFL music in the background. This is a classic, and I think we're going to have fireworks for this game between the Colts and the Raiders this weekend, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So, first things first is that this game, I just killed the music there, but I like that intro. But this game, the Colts are about 7-point favorites here with an over-under of 48. And I dove into a lot of data for this game, so I hope you guys really can listen. Look at my description as well with this YouTube video because there's a lot of information. I've got DVOA. I've got Pro Football Focus grades. I have some betting angles, which one of my favorites is opponent field goals against and field goal attempts per game. We have a kicker in this game in a dome who's got a really great matchup for that. It's really ideal. But I'm going to talk about first the Colts on offense. So the Colts, they pass about 55% of the time, right? That's the 5th lowest rate in the league. And their pass rate over expectation, it's bottom 12 in the league as well. So when they do pass, their average depth of target, ADOT, it's 5th highest in the league. So Jones is going to take his deep shots, all right? And the Raiders, they take their deep shots as well. They're top 10 in that category, but we'll get to them. The Colts, they only target the middle of the field 15% of the time, which is surprising because, they have that new tight end, Tyler Warren. They have a lot of really good tight ends there. But a lot is going to the left and the right. So it's going to be Michael Pittman's birthday, and they target him. He's their left wide receiver. Well, they target the left side of the field 46% of the time. And talk about Jonathan Taylor. He's been amazing this year. They run the ball with zone rushing schemes with outside zone runs. Now, the Raiders, they haven't really defended these well. They've had mixed results. They were pretty good at limiting total rushing yards in some of their games, but I think that was more game flow. They got absolutely gashed by Washington with their running backs. We'll get into that a little later when we talk about the Raiders. And now let's see what else. The Colts are going for it on 4th down at the 3rd highest rate in the league. So they're taking their chances with Shane Steichen. All right. And the DVOA has the Colts as the 3rd rated overall offense. They're 1st rated overall with their passing offense, and they're ranked 12th with their rushing offense with DVOA. And PFF ranks them as the 5th overall offense, the 7th overall pass offense, so they're throwing the ball well, 4th overall rushing offense, and 4th in receiving grade, PFF. So Pittman's having a really good year for them, Warren as well. And Warren and Pittman have been doing really well against zone. And so the Raiders play a lot of cover 3, right? Zone with the classic Pete Carroll there. And Warren and Pittman are doing great against that. So they have a really good opportunity here. All right. So next we will talk about the Colts. They're 12th overall in PFF pass blocking efficiency metric, 15th with their pass block grade, 9th with their run block grade. So pretty good there. They're not dealing with too many injuries, but they do have one this week with their right guard, Gonsalves. He's questionable with a toe injury. And it's pretty big if he doesn't play. He's their top-rated pass blocker so far. And his backup, Dalton Tucker, he would fill in, and he's been really bad with a PFF grade of 10.7. So that could be significant, but their offensive line is otherwise playing pretty well. And the Colts have been running with a lot of 12 and 13 personnel, mostly 11 personnel, over 60% with 3 wide receivers. But like the Bills, they're incorporating a lot of 12 and 13 personnel. And they also have Daniel Jones as the rushing option. And Jonathan Taylor and all the Colts tight ends have had really high pass blocking grades. So I think they can balance out this offensive line injury with the interior right guard. but it's not ideal. It limits them a little bit. But I do think Taylor's been running so well, mostly with these outside zone rushes, which the Raiders have been struggling with. So I think Taylor should have a good day. And Jonathan Taylor, he's getting a lot of the red zone touches. So in the red zone, Taylor's getting 18 touches, 17 are carries. And then Daniel Jones has 6 rushing attempts in the red zone. And then Pittman and Warren have only 3 targets in the red zone, which is next best. So this is really going through Taylor. And so he has a really good chance for a touchdown. I think he has a great chance for 50, 60, 70 plus yards, because he's had 70 plus rushing yards in every game. The Raiders have been decent at limiting that if you look at some of their box scores, but a lot of that had to do with opponents and teams like the Bears and the Chargers, who at first were not rushing the ball too well. New England, when they had a mixed backfield situation. But the Commanders, they had over 130 rushing yards between their running backs and their quarterbacks. And Samuel put them over 200 that day. So the Raiders can be beat there, especially with how well the Colts are running and with how often they like to run the ball. So I think Taylor's rushing prop is good because the Colts' passing rate over expectation is pretty low. So they like to run the ball here. But just know when they want to pass the ball, they really are doing well there. Daniel Jones, he's been incredible this year. I think he should be like comeback player of the year. He's in that ranking. I mean, I know some players with injury probably should win that, but in terms of performance, this guy, he's been incredible under pressure, and he's been incredible against the blitz. Even better than when he's clean and not blitzed, which are still good. So this guy's playing incredible. He's throwing the ball well against man defense, but he's excelling against zone defense like the Raiders have. So, I mean, the Colts are just lined up for success. The Raiders don't have much of a pass rush. They're ranked 23rd in that metric. PFF has them ranked 26th in overall defense. So 27th in coverage, 23rd against the run, even though DVOA has them a little better, 12th worst against the pass and 11th best against the rush, which kind of contradicts the PFF rushing defense grade. But they haven't been excellent. The Colts can definitely beat them there. When you look at special teams, also, the Colts are ranked 7th. The Raiders are ranked 29th. So there's the big edge there for the Colts offense. So, yeah, that's a lot of good material I just threw at you quick. You may have to go back here on this. That is for the Colts offense. And when we look now, shifting gears to the Raiders when they have the ball. Also, I should say the Colts. Schrader for the Colts. The Colts are near the top of the league for field goal attempts per game, because the one thing about the Colts is they're about bottom 7 in the league with red zone touchdown percentage. So they're having some issues in the red zone, despite this offense firing on all cylinders. So it's getting Spencer Schrader a lot of opportunities. He's going to be in a dome. I love his over this week on 1.5 field goals made. He's been pretty efficient as well. And the Raiders, they happen to allow the bottom 5 amount of field goal attempts per game. I think it's just because that zone defense is beatable and the Raiders aren't offering much to stop the run or the pass. But they do play that zone defense, which maybe they're preventing some touchdowns there, or they're just allowing offenses to do pretty well. The Colts are also top 10 in time of possession, so they're having the ball a lot, where the Raiders are more like bottom half of the league there. So that's some really good data I dove into there. Took me a little bit. I was looking through some good metrics. Hopefully you guys appreciate that. And let's see. When we look at the Raiders as well, their O-line has about 2 players performing well, 1 just okay, and 2 that are not playing well. They have an offensive line injury to Colton Miller, but his backup actually is playing pretty well. So they're not in too much trouble there. But why I think this game can be a shootout is the Colts defensively, they're not doing too much. So as good as their offense is, their defense is beatable. We saw the Rams put up 27 against them last week. And the Colts do have one significant injury this week. Kenny Moore, he's been excellent for cornerback for the Colts. The Colts have had one of the best teams against wide receiver ones, DVOA. But he's going to be out, and his backup, Mekhi Blackman, is not playing well. That's about a 30-point drop in PFF grade from 80s to the 50s. The Colts are also bottom 10 in the league in pressure rate. Just like the Raiders, they're about middle of the pack to bottom of the half league in blitz rate, bottom 10 in pressure rate, like I said, like the Raiders. So I'm finding more and more that, offenses that have some explosiveness and punch to them, they're okay if their offensive line isn't perfect, but it's just kind of okay if they're not going up against a world beater of a defense or pass rush. So these guys should be good throwing the ball, having time. Daniel Jones also is a little quicker with his release this year, getting rid of the ball. So back to Jones, but I just really like Jones this year. He's playing great. Good for him. And Geno Smith, though, he's been horrible under pressure. Okay when kept clean. And he's about below average against the blitzer when he's not blitzed. But the thing is, he's not getting much pressure against him this week. The Colts are playing a lot of zone defense as well, about 70% of the time. And Geno's been good against zone. Like, he's not lighting it up when he's clean, but he's been good against zone. We've seen this with even Aaron Rodgers, some of these quarterbacks. They're not playing at an elite level, but they're not playing bad. Pretty much every quarterback in the NFL, when kept clean, is doing well against a zone. I mean, I feel like if I could get there with a lot of time to throw, easy high percentage throws, I could make them. So these NFL quarterbacks, most of them are doing enough against zone defenses when they're kept clean. I know Tom Brady always said his favorite defense to face was a zone defense because of those reasons. Now, as we look, I have some more notes for you. Yeah, the Raiders aren't defending zone rushing schemes well. And yeah, Ashton Jonty, he came back to life last week. We all know that. But that was great to see. And on top of that, the Colts, they haven't been defending the run necessarily well either. They've had mixed results against these wide zone rushing schemes that the Raiders also like to use. They use a mix of everything, power running as well, interior. But I think both quarterbacks being good against zones here helps. Both quarterbacks likely to not be under much pressure helps this game, or blitzed much. A lot of high percentage throws. Let's see. The Colts are also not that great at covering wide receiver 2, their second worst. So Mr. Trey Tucker could have a bounce back game here, especially if there's a lot of points. Touchdown variance is so hard. But he is tied with Bowers and Myers for 3 red zone targets. So he's going to have a chance for a touchdown here. You want to hold on to him, see what he can do. I know he had a dud last week. The Colts also are bottom half of the league, 10th worst against tight ends. So Brock Bowers could eat. But he's been dealing with some questionable with a knee injury, so he's got to work through that. But I think he should be fine. Jonty hurt his ankle a little bit, but I think he should be fine. Okay, also, both teams have been bad against deep explosive passes. So just another boost for these quarterbacks, So I really like shootout potential here. Okay, this could be a pretty good GPP lineup as well. And let's see. Yeah, the Raiders are slightly slower in pace too. That's the one concern. Although I think in a dome, if a game's a shootout, that isn't too significant. And I think that becomes a concern if one of these teams like the Colts has a big lead, then that's not as good, right, for this game in points. But I do think the Raiders can throw the ball here and score. We saw this in the Washington game. There was over 60 points scored. So, this could be another 40-20 type game. But I do think the Colts defense has been beatable. The Raiders with Jonty, their offense is decent. So I expect this. I put a final score of 34-27 Colts. I want Schrader 2+ field goals. And let's see here. The Colts don't allow nearly as many field goal attempts, but Carlson is getting and Carlson is only attempting about average rate of field goals per game. So I don't expect anything too big from Carlson, but I do like Schrader. I did say about Jonathan Taylor with his rushing yards potential. And I did talk about, let's see, those good things with the Colts. And I had one more thing here I was looking at in terms of this game. Yeah, so I have my final plays here. I would recommend, like I said, I love these teasers, guys. Like, if you're going to play, you increase your odds, by putting together something like a team Colts plus 3.5, Taylor 50 rushing plus yards, rather than going for something like Taylor 80 plus rushing yards or Colts -7. It's like there's more risk there. So I kind of like playing it as conservative as possible because this is not a conservative thing, right? It's more wild and risky. So you try to limit risk as much as you can. But I would say Colts 34-27. But I would take Colts -2.5, Schrader 2+ field goals, Taylor 50 to 60+ rushing yards. He's had 70+ each game. Taylor touchdown, although I don't love betting on touchdowns, but I do think he'll score one with how much red zone usage he's getting in points in this game. And definitely, I love the over at 43.5 as well. The Raiders are showing that they can do that in the last two games. The Colts with the Rams. So I think sometimes these games, like, you want it to be like a high-scoring game, but you'll at least take like, oh, this game was 24-21, and it hits the over 43.5. So I think that's something to consider as well. And then for fun plays, I wouldn't bet it, but just the upside for wild GPP narrative is I think Trey Tucker can score a touchdown this week and bounce back. He's getting those red zone targets. The Colts are not good against wide receiver twos, but the Raiders do spread the ball around, so I don't really have so much faith in this. It's random. And Michael Pittman, it's his birthday. I think he's got good potential to score a touchdown if the Colts score a lot of points. But again, a lot of those red zone looks are going to Jonathan Taylor, so none of this is bankable. Always play safely and responsibly and for fun. And thank you for tuning in. I really hope you enjoy this game, and hopefully it's an exciting one. Thank you.